Dude, have you ever seen Marky D 123?
The Hawk.
Never heard of him. No.
Terrible YouTube channel, dude.
No, that's what I know.
Guy.
Whoa! You talking about the Hawk?
Yeah, the Hawk.
I'm gonna make you do the J-O-B. Don't talk about the Hawk, man.
But it's a terrible channel, man.
Terrible? You want some too? No. Better like and subscribe. Marky D 123. I'll smack you one. Oh yeah, promoters. Book Slice Boogie. Once you can shove it.
Man! Alright, it's that time once again for me to ask, was she any good? As we take a look back at Jacqueline's career in the WWF. I thought this would be an interesting video to make because I don't remember her doing too much other than Attitude Era Diva type stuff. But at the same time, I always hear how much of a trailblazer this woman was for women's wrestling. We need to find out if she truly was a legend. It also helps this video was a Patreon request by Jose Garcia. If you want to make the Hawk talk, sign up today. This today is not an episode of Ring of the Hawk as we're currently on a short hiatus before beginning a new series, and Jackie had 2 matches to qualify for Ring of the Hawk anyway. Alright, how good was Miss Jackie, or are people smoking the wacky tobacco? Jacqueline bounced around the wrestling world during the early to mid 90s before eventually finding a more permanent home in the WWF starting in 1998. Unfortunately, she was paired up with Mark Mero, whose career was floundering since being overshadowed by wife Sable. She was Sable's replacement. It felt like for ages everything Mero did involved Sable. Jacqueline was introduced as Mero's new girlfriend and she gets an impressive crowd reaction and looks like $1 million. I'd almost dump on her for being teamed up with Mero, who's essentially a comedy act, but that's not her fault. Sable of course starts feuding with Mero and Jackie almost straight away. Jackie being his new manager slash girlfriend certainly wasn't improving Mero's win-loss record, but we don't care about him. So we fast forward to when Jackie actually has to do something on her own. She gets a chance to cut an in-ring promo. She can barely get a word out due to all the Sable chants in the crowd. She blames Mero's latest losses on the fact that they can't stop humping. This turns out to be a rhyming promo. Jackie sounds like a young Hawk. I like it. Sable isn't able. They have an argument calling each other skanks and sluts and discussing whose body is better. They agree to have a Bikini contest to settle their differences. This actually gets hyped up a few weeks in advance. Who would have expected such build to that sort of match? Another Jackie promo which doesn't go so well. I don't think her mic was switched on. Nothing phases her though, and I'm impressed with her confident delivery, even if she is just delivering lines about skank. At Fully Loaded 98, Jackie unfortunately loses the Bikini contest, as far as the fans' reaction goes anyway. But in this Hawk's opinion, she looked fine. And also in my opinion, the fans were just swayed just because Sable had paint on. I almost feel sorry for Jackie here. It's almost been 2 months and she's barely got to throw a punch, and this Sable stuff just goes on and on. Jackie is declared the winner of the Bikini contest eventually because Sable only had paint. It's a tainted victory though, the crowd didn't want to see it. As we move into August, she finally has her first match against Luna. It's an ugly 2-minute smash fest where she managed a grand total of 3 hair mares and a knee to the nutsack. Not a ring debut to remember, and it certainly didn't make you want to see Jackie ever again. It almost feels like at this point Mero is dragging Jackie down to his level, or maybe that's Sable's fault. It's loss after loss for Jackie. It doesn't help that she's always in there with Sable, so not going to mark her down for these matches. Things will be changing soon. The women's title was randomly reactivated, which hadn't been seen in the WWF since Alundra Blaze took it to the WCW 3 years prior. Of course, it's Sable and Jackie fighting for the belt. The match is pretty atrocious, but the good news is that Jackie wins it. And she is the women's champion, the first one since 1995. A pretty cool spot for Jackie. Let's see what she's going to be able to do against some ring-wise opponents, because I still have no idea if she was anything special in the ring. Well, I wish I could give you the answers you need, but she doesn't have a damn match on the main show for 2 months, so we have to bounce over to the C shows to see if anything worthwhile is happening. Well, it's not, it's just Goofball Mero helping her keep the belt in 2-minute matches. Jackie doesn't remotely look like a threat to anyone. She can't even apply a figure 4 properly. Then she has a match with a jobber. Actually, it's Molly Holly before she was famous. And whoa, we've got chain wrestling. We've got kicks flying. We've got suplexes and a float over DDT to end it. This is what the Hulk was looking for. I won't hold my breath that we're going to see more of that though, but it's a start. Well, I was right about that because she goes right back to feuding with Sable for a month. Sable didn't like her because Jackie shaved off some of Sable's haircut and weaved it into her own hair. On to Survivor Series 1998 we go. At this point, I just wish Mark Mero would go away. The match is 3 minutes and it's horrible. Jackie barely manages a thing against Sable and she loses the title. Jackie must go down as one of the worst women's champions of all time. She did nothing with that thing. And that's all I'm marking her down for here, and not for her match quality against Sable. I do get my wish about Mark Mero going away though. On the following episode of Heat, when Jackie made a mistake which cost Mero a match, he fired her. I thought they were a couple, so not sure how firing her works. This can only possibly be a positive. But Mero tells her he only took her to the WWF to take care of Sable, but all Jackie did was lose, lose, lose. Yeah, thanks for reminding us, Mero. Jackie moves on to team up with Terry Runnels and form a team called PMS, the Pretty Mean Sisters. This was most likely a Vince Russo pun. Jackie and Terry were upset about the treatment they received from Mero and Dustin Runnels. Their goal was to pay back all men. Terry tries to seduce Michael Cole and Jackie has one job to pull his jeans down and punch his nutsack, but she messes it up. They're quickly paired up with D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry. It was X-rated skits, attitude era stuff. Based on the acting here, I really think Terry Runnels missed her calling in life. Jackie, not so much. They caused Henry to miss matches. They also got on the wrong side of Chyna, who was sort of involved with Mark Henry. Jackie ran away from Chyna in fear like a complete pussy. Considering Jackie is actually a wrestler, I would have liked her at least attempt to square up to Chyna. Despite the initial friendship between PMS, Brown and Mark Henry, they actually started helping the boys win their matches. But as soon as that happened, D'Lo changed his mind and called Jackie and Terry ring rats and to keep away from them. Jackie's WWF career seems to be going great, doesn't it? No. She hardly wrestled any matches at all. The story stuff continues as D'Lo Brown sort of knocks Terry off the ring apron, which apparently causes her to have a miscarriage. I don't know, it doesn't have much relevance to Jackie, she was just there. She's neither the baby's dad or the one who caused the baby to die. This storyline is horrible. Due to D'Lo Brown's guilt, he does the bidding of PMS, including them trying to make him fight Henry. And they also force D'Lo Brown to buy them tampons. A real star-making storyline. It's all just so unexplainable and dumb. What's Jackie and Terry's problems? D'Lo Brown brings in Ivory to watch his back. It's also revealed that Terry wasn't even pregnant in the first place. Who cares? Honestly, Jackie is just completely irrelevant in this storyline. She's just there. So let's move on to something that actually does involve her. Her in-ring career. It finally restarts after months. I mean, it's only matches on Heat, but I'll take it. It's just nothing positive. I'm sorry, I'm really trying to find you guys some good news. Naturally, Jacqueline faces Ivory, which you think would be good, but it just goes 1 minute and Jacqueline looks dumb missing a middle rope splash and she loses clean. They have a return match on Heat. This time it goes 1.5 minutes. I know I'm clutching at straws. Jackie randomly hits a Death Valley driver in this match. She wins with a back suplex. Jackie really needs to decide on a damn finisher. I'm going to call this good because it's 2 more moves than women of this era would be expected to know. I had hoped this was a turning point for her, but she loses by DQ against the other Tory in 1 minute. Now things somehow get worse. Enter Shawn Stasiak. Not this guy. Pretty Mean Sisters started hanging around with Shawn Stasiak, who was called Meat because PMS would sleep with him. PMS were joined by Ryan Shamrock. Honestly, this is just depressing. Most of her stuff is on Heat and Jackie is never the main character. It's centered around people like Sable, Terry Runnels and Meat. Stasiak calls his finisher the Meat Grinder. I just don't care about this dumb storyline. Jacqueline never wins and just has 1 minute matches and she rarely even makes it onto Raw. But when she does make it onto Raw, she has the biggest match of her WWF career. It's Jacqueline versus a wild Slapnuts appears.
Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff was fighting her as build up to his match with Chyna. Jackie lasts an entire minute. Anytime you lose to Jeff Jarrett, it's bad. Let's move era because this ain't working. On to the year 2000 we go. The women's division were bored and were told to draw straws to get a women's title match. Jackie gets the match. It's Jacqueline challenging for the women's title which belongs to Harvey Whippleman, who is a man. The only thing that I've known for sure since starting this video is that Jackie looks damn fine in red. This isn't even a proper match, and yay, Jackie is the women's champion for the 2nd time. And it's the year 2000. It's a year known for improvement in match quality. We're going to cautiously see where it goes. Ivory is her first challenger for the belt on SmackDown. It only goes 1 minute again. It's nothing special. And this is a good time for me to mention it. Jacqueline just isn't getting much of a crowd reaction. Next up, it's Lita challenging. You'd think this one would be good, but it turns into bad comedy of Lita rolling on top of the referee. Jackie reverses a pin and wins. Still waiting on a match which is anything more than a piss break. And I am a more positive hope nowadays. Imagine what the old bird would have said. On to the next SmackDown, and the dream officially comes to an end because Stephanie McMahon wants the title. She beats Jackie in 40 seconds, with help obviously, but it's another dark period for the women's title. I'd say that Jackie's second title reign was 5% better because at least she was on more important shows, unlike the last reign. It's still bad though. I'm just not sure where we're going to go from here. She's just never a main character. Maybe I should just take a different approach and highlight her longer matches and storylines. We fast forward towards the end of the year 2000. Lita is the women's champion at this time. They have a hardcore match and Jackie pushes out a shopping trolley full of weapons. Who does she think she is, Raisin? One of her weapons is a hairdryer and this amused me for some reason. Jackie misses a ladder dive, but she really wasn't any higher than the top rope. Still waiting for that good match. Maybe she's just best off doing the Attitude Era Diva stuff. Maybe we all had it wrong. Maybe she's just actually a good fit for that type of match. She's good looking enough for sure, and she has a sort of hot aggressiveness to everything she does. She beats Trish in a butt slapping match, which brings new meaning to the term "don't look at my ass." Throughout her run, Jackie has several intergender matches. They have the sense to make sure it's against the smallest possible men's competitors like Dean Malenko and Crash Holly. Surprisingly, her match with Crash is the best that she's had. Some nice arm breakers from Jackie in this one and some really fun wrestling. It wasn't pure dominance for her male counterpart either. Jackie wins the match with a Frankensteiner. Maybe she is a wrestler after all. Surprisingly, Jackie gets on the Survivor Series 2001 pay-per-view. I say surprising because she has not made it onto a single pay-per-view in almost 2 years. I think that's a pretty damning reflection on how she was viewed within the company. The match quality does improve from here on in. It only took 3 years. I'm happy to take back some of the negative marks I gave her earlier in this video. Jackie can clearly wrestle to a high standard as far as this era goes. She was just never allowed to shirt on the main shows. And she was in there with people who couldn't keep up with her. She was never pushed as the main character. It seems like the older Jackie got, the more they trusted her and she started to get on pay-per-view more. They billed her as a tough veteran who wasn't scared of wrestling men. Don't get me wrong, she never won, but they knew she wasn't going to stink the place up. She was also trusted as a trainer on Tough Enough. I really enjoyed this triple threat match at Armageddon 2002 against Trish and Victoria. Jackie is back in red here, which we can all agree is her best look. There's just some really awesome moves in this one, and the standard of her opponents is a lot higher, which helps. She throws some really cool kicks and leg sweeps in this one. Definitely check it out if you're looking for a Jackie Moore highlight reel. By 2002 standards, this was an incredibly hard-hitting women's bout. In 2003, she was barely on the show and wrestled almost exclusively on Heat, but she did have a very brief career rebirth when she won the Cruiserweight title from excellent Chavo Guerrero. She also had a match against his dad, Chavo Guerrero Sr., before losing the title back to Chavo Jr. on the Judgment Day 2004 pay-per-view. An entertaining angle, and it was cool that Jackie could have this final moment in the spotlight. I feel like they wanted to have her keep facing men, but there just wasn't enough suitable guys for her to fight. She might be in great shape, but she's still really small. You've got to have some believability in there, no matter how much more positive the Hulk is nowadays. WWE released Jackie in 2004 because they didn't have anything for her to do, and she eventually went off to TNA. She did get one final match in the WWF at the Women's Royal Rumble in 2018. Not a lot to say there. I really enjoyed Jackie's WWE career when reflecting on this video. There was actually some evolution here. She started out with the tough task of feuding with Sable for months on end. Then she embraced all the trashy diva stuff and she was a great character on the show. She continued being reliable through the years as women's wrestling slowly improved. She still wasn't allowed to show half of what she could really do. But by 2002, the other women had caught up with her standards and it became clear how great she was. She now had dance partners. My only slight gripe with her is that when she wasn't doing the trashy diva stuff, I don't think anybody cared that much about her. I always listened to the crowds to help gauge this, and they weren't exactly going mad for her. So she was essentially a workhorse who was just there to ensure her opponents looked as good as possible. She accomplished being the first African American women's champion. She won the belt 2 times. She was part of the WWF when its ratings were at record highs. For around a year, she was the main woman on the show behind Chyna and Sable. She beat several men. She won the Cruiserweight title, and she looked good doing all of that. So yeah, I'm going to say Jacqueline was good for sure, especially when you factor in the era of wrestling we're looking at. A really tough, reliable girl who'd be a solid addition to any roster, even if she isn't going to be someone you can build the company around. And if you don't agree with that, I'll crush you into the ground.